So, I'm excited about this title, The Sins of Those You Lead. The sins of those you lead. No, this is not a religious conversation. This is a leadership conversation. It is possible that the Supreme Court or an individual may err. But in the case of a leader, it is probable or even certain that you're going to err. As I've said before, as a leader, you will make mistakes. It is an occupational hazard of your role. As a leader, you will make mistakes, and it is an occupational hazard of your role. The reason leaders, as opposed to judges and priests, cannot avoid making mistakes is that there is no textbook that infallibly teaches how to lead. I want to repeat that. The reasons why leaders, as opposed to judges and priests, cannot avoid making mistakes is that there is no textbook that infallibly teaches you how to lead. Priests and judges follow laws. For leadership, there is no laws because every situation is unique. It's very difficult to apply inflexible rules to a constantly shifting political or business landscape. And applying infallible rules will destroy societies and businesses. Communism was like that. In a free society, people change. Culture changes. The world beyond a nation's borders does not stand still. So a political leader, a business leader, and those who lead religious institutions will find that what worked a decade ago or a century ago does not work now. In politics, as in business, it is easy to get it wrong. It is hard to get it right. In business, the competitive landscape is forever changing. There are new entrants and there are industry disruptors. And so a business leader has no rule book or guide to tell him or her what to do and how to respond to these. There is one more reason why leadership is so challenging. It can be found in the statement, "My son, if you have put up security for your neighbor, if you have stuck your hand in a pledge for another," that's Proverbs 6 verse 1. You see, once you have accepted the call to lead and you have been placed at the head or assumed office, you may not say, "I have to look after my welfare. I'm not concerned with the family, the community, the business, or the nation." The whole burden of family, community, organization, or national affairs rests on you. You become responsible for the actions of those that you lead. In politics, you are accountable for the crime rate, the economic depression, etc. In business, you're accountable for poor customer service, poor product quality, environmental damage, etc. In the family, you are accountable for your children's actions. My son, if you have put up security for your neighbor, meaning you are responsible for him, you have entered the gladiatory arena, and he who enters the arena is either conquered or conquers. Now, a private individual is responsible only for his own sins. A leader is held responsible for the sins of the people he leads. I'm going to repeat that for you. A private individual is responsible for his own sins. A leader is held responsible for the sins of those he leads. at least those he might have prevented. You see, with power comes responsibility. And the greater the power, the greater the responsibility. There are no universal rules. There is no fail-safe textbook for leadership. Every situation is different, and each age brings its own challenges. A ruler in the best interest of his or her people may sometimes have to take decisions that a conscientious individual would shrink from doing in private life. He or she may have to decide to wage war, knowing that some people will die. He may have to levy taxes, knowing that this will leave some people impoverished. Only after the event will the leader know whether the decision was justified, and it may depend on factors beyond his control. So an ideal approach to leadership should be the combination of realism on the one hand and idealism on the other. Realism is acknowledging that leaders inevitably make mistakes. Idealism, insubordination of politics to ethics. Power to responsibility. Pragmatism to the demands of conscience. What matters is not that as a leader you never get it wrong. That is inevitable. I'm going to repeat that. What matters is not that as a leader you never get it wrong. That is inevitable, given the nature of leadership. But that as a leader, you are sufficiently honest to admit your mistakes. Leadership demands two kinds of courage: the strength to take a risk and the humility to admit when a risk fails. I'll repeat that. Leadership demands two kinds of courage: the strength to take a risk and the humility to admit when the risk fails. Remember, leadership is a burden, a privilege, and an awesome responsibility. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel. And if you're enjoying these leadership videos, let me know. Have a super day.